car in the HOV 2+ only lane. I'm just sticking in my NES cartridge here. Okay, so Arizona is one of the most beautiful states of the Union. I take back every bad thing I said about Arizona. It was before I reached if you look on Google Maps, there's like, what is it called? There's like a big green space. And I don't know exactly what that means. I think it means unincorporated territories. So like, an incorporated territory is a territory that's part of a city or town. An unincorporated territory is not. I don't fully understand what the green... I always thought it meant forest or like nature preserve or something of that nature. I don't know. But anyway, it's like, you know, what they should do is they should redraw the borders of the states to make geographical sense rather than just being square blocks, because New Mexico actually continues into Arizona for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, this isn't desert anymore, these are trees. And you're like, wait a second, there's snow on these trees. I've entered Christmas Town. I've entered a winter wonderland. What is going on? What is happening? And then all of a sudden, you know, it's misty and there's fog and someone lowered the render distance. And it was just crazy. I was like, this is the paranormal activity. All of a sudden I've gone from the literal desert. You know, we criticize Minecraft biomes as being unrealistic because it's like, oh really? You're going to go straight from desert to taiga biome? But this actually happened in real life, okay? I went from desert biome to taiga biome. There were pine trees with snow on them. Like, if that's not a taiga biome, I don't know what it is. Driving through Silent Hill. I was driving through Silent Hill. But then PS1 graphics. Oh, sorry that the video quality is so low, but I watched the last stream I did, and the audio and the video were completely out of sync, and it's like, what's the point? I mean, we'll see how this one goes. Whatever. I just got my energy back up because I was pretty, like, for the last 5 hours of driving or so, I've just been kind of in chill mode, like passively driving, just like doing my thing, observing the environment. Didn't really have anything to say, but I just wanted to remark that I traveled through the taiga biome, and then this revealed these great mountain. I didn't get this experience in New Mexico. New Mexico has mountains, but they're kind of isolated, few and far between, and they don't have roads, so you can't really drive through the mountains. You can drive like up to the mountains, but you can't drive through the mountains. I was driving through the mountains. It was quite an experience. You know, it was just like pretty cool. And then we went from there to the Cactus Biome, and there was just cactus everywhere. Like, literally millions of giant cactus. Like, every few feet, there's a cactus that's 10 foot tall. It was incredible. So, I'm pretty impressed with that. And then, you know, you go through the Cactus Biome, and then eventually you get to Phoenix. And unfortunately, it's getting dark, so I'm not really going to see what, like, the, I guess the town that's on the border of California and Arizona is called Blythe. I'm probably not going to see Blythe very well because it's going to be very dark here soon. But I was very impressed with, once you get an hour away from New Mexico and you get an hour into Arizona, it's very impressive. I don't know how long my data is going to last here because it really was completely dead for most of that 5-hour ride, like just not even 1G, 0G. And so now that I'm more in an urban environment, I thought I would try streaming again for at least a short little bit, and I'm sure it's going to pop out again. right as soon as I leave this urban center. But I was feeling good. I was feeling good about this whole Arizona thing. I think some of you guys should move to Arizona. I think it's a good state to move to. I've heard a lot of bad things about Phoenix, but I haven't seen any bad things about Phoenix. I mean, maybe if you live here, like, you'd experience those bad things, but there's other cities in Arizona as well. I mean, like, eastern Arizona, like between basically an hour west of New Mexico and an hour east of Phoenix, is like so beautiful, so scenic. It is rural, it's out in the middle of nowhere, but it's incredibly, it's awesome. It was interesting. I didn't get this on camera, but I saw in New Mexico there was a billboard that said, like, "We're riding with Biden," and it had like all the different colors. I don't know, like the I don't know what you call those, 1980s colors or something. Are those palm trees I spy? Are those the famous palm trees of Phoenix? Don't tell me those are palm trees. Don't tell me. Don't tell me now. Are you serious? There's so many biomes we're going to. Hello, perfect citizen. I hope I'm being heard and loud and clear. I think people are probably frustrated with my streams because they cut in and out. So I understand that, like, I have desecrated this channel with bad content and long waiting times and loading times and latency and lag. But I was feeling good. I stopped for gas, and I went in the gas station, and it was a great gas station, and they were just like, there was a dude outside power washing, there was a dude inside power washing, they're just like constantly cleaning everything. I was like, I don't know if I just like hopped into the best area of town, but this is a great introduction to the city. I'm very impressed. There was a kid on a bicycle running around saying, "Excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question? So I'm a student and I'm trying to buy a laptop right now." So there was a kid doing that. But even then, it's like he was a young kid. He was like a teenager, which implies to me that there are rich people around here who are willing to, like, actually pay money. Because you don't panhandle like that if it's not effective. A mic popped, and now you're barely audible. Okay. It may be because the way I hold my phone is I put my adjust your antenna. Yeah, I put my pinky finger under my phone to support it. I'm so sorry. Thank you for telling me, because otherwise I would do that for the rest of the drive. I need like a phone holder. I was touching the phone. I need one of those dashboard phone holders. And I had one before and then I broke it, but I can get another one. It's an investment I'll have to make at some point if I keep doing these long enough. So, in essence, what's the moral of the story? What am I trying to say here? So New Mexico, there were some good things. I didn't really take advantage of them. We're still dealing with city traffic, which is great fun. What are people doing right now? Are you going home from work? It's way too late. I guess Phoenix is just a huge city. I guess there's just a ton of people driving around at night. I mean, it is a Friday night. It's a Friday night in Phoenix and people are going out, I guess. I don't know what they're doing. What do you do in Phoenix on a Friday night? You go to the club? Sounds like a dream, the landscapes and all. Yeah, it was a great reward because I was driving for hours through the New Mexican desert and it got to be miserable. I was like, I am sick of this. Literally, like, mentally, it wears you down after a while. You're like, really? This is all that there is? I would recommend, if you're going to make this road trip, I would recommend don't stop in New Mexico unless you plan on actually maybe Albuquerque's better, and maybe like doing daily mountain trips, because that would be fun. Legitimately, they have some cool peaks and scenes and whatever, like some daily mountain trips. Like if I got to see the snow and whatever, that would have been cool. So let me just check. Okay, we just got to stay on Route 10. So anyway, yeah. It has a pretty active nightlife. Been there once. Yeah, I'm sure it does. Too bad I don't have the nightlife crew with me to go do the nightlife. There's all kinds of things. It's really hot in some parts of Arizona. Maybe many work at night. Don't know if it is hot this time of year. Okay, so here's the other huge thing. The changes in humidity and the changes in temperature are so radical. So when I was in New Mexico, it was like, it wasn't hot, but it wasn't cold. It was like, the feels like temperature was like 40 to 50. Like I'm wearing a t-shirt and shorts and I was fine in New Mexico. I wasn't shivering. There's a very colorful species. It's become endemic. They descend from escaped pets. Oh, okay. That's interesting. They live off bird feeders, totally artificial population. Okay, so there's some interesting stuff going on here. I need a better live chat feed, because having the little tiny thing at the bottom, like if you post a long comment or whatever, it's like really, it's hard to see what's going on. I'm going to be honest with you. I guess that's why people do super chats, is so like they can actually address people rather than have way too many thoughts at the same time. Okay, so what was I saying about the temperature is that I went into the Taiga biome. It like got cold. It was snowy. There was snow on the ground. It was snowing. There was snow falling from the sky on the car. And it was cold. It was like wintertime. I was like, what is going on? Because I just came from the hot desert. You guys saw the video I made a couple days ago. And I haven't increased my latitude. I've decreased. I've gone more south. And all of a sudden, it's wintertime. And then as we drove, and now we're in Phoenix, it's like 65 degrees. So Phoenix is nice and warm, and it all has to do with the mountains and the shielding of the wind currents and the whole climate systems and the pressure systems and whatnot. So that part was very cool, the fact that we went through so many different temperature changes, humidity changes. There was parts of Arizona that were like swamp, like eastern Arizona. I was driving past these like stagnant pools of water, and it was like it was a taiga swamp. It was a wintertime swamp. It was really cool. So I would definitely want to like not just drive through Arizona, but I would want to stay through Arizona during the daytime, and then unless I have somebody with me in New Mexico, I would probably just drive through New Mexico in the nighttime, because like you don't need to see the desert. Like once you've seen the desert, you've pretty much seen the whole desert. Like it's the same exact thing everywhere, very monotonous. That's part of the reason why I think I didn't explore as much as I should have. I mean, maybe I shouldn't blame the environment for my ineptitudes, but still, it wasn't my favorite. I love Arizona, at least eastern Arizona. Now, as far as we're going into western Arizona, that's going to be a different climate. I'm seeing like palm trees and stuff, so it's a little bit different. But I'm pretty bullish in terms of betting. In terms of like betting odds of like this, if a state was a stock, I would invest in Arizona. I think Arizona's got potential. Let me tell you that. It's got great potential. not really for like farming or like in terms of, I don't know, like the founding a civilization or something like that, but it has great potential in terms of beautiful scenic area, places that you could, and I guess it's hard to start towns in mountainous areas. Like they have towns in Colorado, and New Mexico has a high altitude at some points, but what I'm trying to say is that the altitude changes very quickly, which isn't really good for building settlements, although they do it in Switzerland. Spiritual potential, sure. They do it in Switzerland. You could have Swiss-style villages in Arizona. And I think that's what we need to orchestrate a Swiss colonial project of the Eastern Arizona. That is my wish and my hope. But paranormal zone, once we got to Phoenix, Arizona, I think the spooky paranormal zone is gone. It definitely, like, if you had to take me out of the car and like put me in those fields of the millions of cactuses, that is kind of spooky. Like New Mexican desert. Hello, Gibson. How are you doing? New Mexican desert. I was saying, what's going on? Are you still there, sire? You lagged. Well, I have 24 frames per second, so I don't know. I have 800 kilobytes per second. I don't know how to change the settings anymore to make it like work better. What was I saying? You're good now. Great. Okay. So the New Mexican desert is just shrubbery and flat. Like there's no trees, there's no cactuses, there's no hills. There are mountains, but they're off in the distance. They are never like close to the road. Unfortunately, there were some cool parts. There was a slight little tiny bit of New Mexico. I was driving through with James, the hitchhiker, where it was pretty cool. I think I might have enjoyed it more. I don't know. It could have enjoyed it if I like had to stop and get out. But it was like it was like 1%. You saw some really cool stuff. And into Arizona as well. Like they have some Indian reservations and they have some cool stuff. So, HRE, thank you for your doxing attempt. I will ban you when I'm less busy. So anyway, as I was saying on my national road trip, we are going to California. I was comparing the two deserts. The desert of New Mexico is kind of boring. The desert of Arizona is got like mountains everywhere and there's cactus everywhere. And I was just imagining like you're out in the middle of a field of millions of cactus. Like that at some point you would go full, like what's that word for like when you call the coconut, like you give it a name or something like that. I forget the name from that movie. Is it with Bill Murray? Bill Murray like names his coconut Austin or Steven, or I forget the name that he gives the coconut. But I feel like that's what I would do with the cactuses. I would be like, hey, it's Bob the cactus. Like all the other cactuses are fake, but you're the real one, Bob. Like you and me are going to be friends. I feel like that's what would happen with me and the cactuses. It is odd, like they're like these, Castaway is the film. It's really odd. Wilson, I would be like, oh, you're the real Wilson. These other cactuses are fake. Because they're very statuesque and they're very human-like, because they typically will have a head and then like two stalks on the side. So, and you'll have to start eating your friends. That's true. I was actually like, as I was driving through, and I've been pretty hungry because I've been not eating for most of the day, which is fine for me. It keeps me energized. It keeps me focused, and like I'm not going to die. I just eat at the end of the day. But anyway, I was thinking like, what if I had an axe right now? I could chop down this cactus and like, see all the juicy insides of this cactus. I was thinking about that as I was driving by the cactus. Chopping them down like a lumberjack, but instead of lumber, it's a cactus jack. Sounds like a cereal. What's that? Applejack cereal? That's a pretty good cereal. I'm a fan of Apple Jacks. I'm a fan of a lot of things. You ever think about how many bodies are probably below you at any given point? Are you talking about, like, if you're at a high altitude, like there's many people who live below you? Or are you talking about the fact that the Earth is a sphere, and therefore you're at the top of that sphere at any given time? Like, relative to your position, everyone is below you. Like, if we say that I am on top of the Earth, then I'm technically at the highest point on the Earth relative to me, like in the desert. Oh, are you talking about like dead people, like buried in the desert, like who have been killed by the mafia? Yeah, or MS-13. Yeah, that's an interesting question as well. I don't typically think about that. I think the desert is a fair place to be buried. I don't know if it's my favorite place to be buried. You know, probably the forest would be the best place to be buried. But yeah, I don't think about that too much, but it's interesting how I took your words and I twisted them into like 20 different things. Paying for you to cut one down, incredibly dense due to water retention, really hard to get through. Yeah, I'm guessing that you're probably correct. How many people have you killed with your car? Zero with my car. Yeah, so we're doing fine. You'd be better off making food out of the prickly pear. Bones of the enemies of the Uto-Aztecians as they migrated south to Mesoamerica. Possibly, yeah. I know I was looking up the mountains of New Mexico, and there was one that was called like Massacre Mountain or something of that nature. And I think that one had to do with Westerners encountering the natives. But in any case, let me just readjust a little bit here. Woo! We're driving. It's city traffic. You were thinking about altitudes and heights and wind elements. I prefer to keep my thoughts to the earth elements. Okay, interesting. I'm an earthy kind of guy. Yeah, that's fair. I like the earth. Someone's telling me to speed up here. Okay. I gotcha. We're speeding. I've dealt with the earth. I've done some earthy stuff in my time. But is that my primary element? You've also got the air element, which is like flight. I wouldn't say flight is my primary element. Then you've got the water. I might be a primary water element, although I know you've got the astrology, which I'm not entirely sure about. I'm not actually sure how astrology works. We're still learning about that. But I feel do a burnout for good luck. Could do that. We could definitely try that. You seem very aquatic. Yeah, I agree. I don't think I'm a fire element because I think I'm a bit too chill to be a fire element. I have my manic moments, but that reminds me more of like the rushing of a stream rather than like fire. Like, it's not to say that I can't get angry, but I don't like rage. Like, there's some people when they get angry, they just like go at you. They're just like on fire. And that is not me. I'm much more like water. I'm much more like malleable. I don't like burn up everything and consume everything around me. I more adapt to the situation, and I can be very quiet. So yeah, I feel like water's the best one for me. I'm just not an earth. I'm not an earth element. Ghost stories, eerie areas, especially in Superstition Mountains. You seem more air-water combo, astrologically speaking. Yeah, air is the same in that sense. I guess so. Air is very similar in that it's hard to like make contact with the air. Like, what is it? Obviously, wind exists, but like, can you really make contact with the air? Can you really nail it down? Maybe I'm a thunder element? No, because thunder seems like too massive. Like thunder reminds me too much of fire because lightning is associated with fire, in my opinion. So thunder to me actually is like the earth it's almost like an earthquake in the sky. Do you hear what I'm saying? So I don't actually know that I am a thunder element because that seems a little bit too like masculine Thor, god of thunder. No, that's not really me. I think either
accident ahead on I-10W in 2.6 miles.
Sweet, that's
You're still on the fastest route.
Yeah, airquake, exactly. I don't think I have to deviate my route. We're just gonna stay on Route 10. Skyquake, yeah, that's another good one. So yeah, we're driving, and these elements, yeah, I think I'm probably somewhere between the water and the air. Hinduism classifies people by elements. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Have you seen any roadrunners? No, I have not seen any ostriches. When Nolan was with me, he saw a jackrabbit, but I have not seen any jackrabbits myself. They're just supposed to be big rabbits. So yeah, as far as wildlife, the only creepy thing I saw was the crows that were everywhere in like western New Mexico, eastern Arizona. There were just crows everywhere for some reason. Not in a flock, just by themselves, hanging out on the signs, on the road, flying in the sky. So I thought that was weird. I also almost got roadrunners as a species of cuckoo. The emus are what will get you. Yeah, I don't think we have emus over here yet. You know, the emus have already conquered Australia, and they're eyeing, they're building their Pacific Fleet for the invasion of America. The emus are coming. Remember what Paul Revere said. He said the emus are coming. Chupacabra is out there. You haven't seen the chupacabra, thankfully. We've steered clear of the chupacabra. John David Ebert's review of Blood Meridian has details of Indian battles in Arizona. Yeah, it's hard for me to keep up with his content. I was last seeing the Rudolf Steiner videos, and I was interested in that, but unfortunately, I don't know, I just wasn't in a manic, aggressive enough state. I probably should have binge-watched a bunch of his videos beforehand. Water is often associated with death, love, mystery, not a bad element. Running joke out here, we have an ostrich emu festival annually. Shadowfire, if you're in Arizona, why didn't we hang out? That's my question. I'm seeing a lot of names in chat I haven't seen before, which is kind of cool. I only have 13 viewers, so I don't know. I guess all my regular viewers are asleep and the new crop of people are coming in. But yeah, I would love to meet new people in these cities, and driving through these places makes me want to come back to a lot of these places. I'm sure some escaped and are arming themselves for future assaults against humanity. Yeah, probably true. It's maybe at the end of the journey I'll be like, woo, that was enough journeying for me. I think I'm just going to settle down now. Yes, welcome new people. Maybe I'll just keep going. I mean, we'll see. This past week has been very difficult for me psychologically. Come to the Midwest in a year and I'll have a Ken pen built for you to stay. Why not this year, Gibson? Why not this year? Why don't you give me some DMs or something? Tell me about your situation if you want. But yeah, the Midwest, I may be going to Chicago. We'll see about that. I'm probably going to Indiana, and Chicago's not too far away. Okay, what does it say? I'm in Washington State. Anyone in Washington have somewhere to park, Kenneth? Why don't you have somewhere? Literally, I can sleep in my car. I can sleep in your driveway. I don't need a cushy bed. I just need a parking lot. Now, some people who live in cities, there's street parking, and you can't really park. You can't sleep on the street parking. Just found out. Oh, I'm gonna try to read your comment here. If I wasn't working, I'd be happy to bore you to death. Haha. Next time you're out here, happy to grab a coffee. Okay, Shadowfire, mention me on Twitter, and we'll DM and we'll get on Telegram and we'll talk, because I'm either going to go back east via Utah or I'm going to go south. I mean, I could do both technically. Depending on the distance from Utah to Arizona and whatever, just let me know, because, depending, plans change and anything's possible at this point. So when you say if I wasn't working, I mean, we could meet up on a weekend or something like that. So, hey, better to try and fail than to just assume it's impossible, right? I understand people are very busy, but I literally met John for 1 hour. So I booked a hotel for 5 nights. I spent, $300 to meet John, and I met him for 1 hour, and I met him the first day I was there. So, that's the kind of thing I've done. So people think it's only going to be for a short time, and it's that's what I'm doing. Obviously to other people, road trips seem kind of ridiculous, but that's what I'm doing right now. So let's see if we can make things happen. If you want, okay? If you go through Quartzsite, Arizona, stop at the used bookstore run by an old nudist. Okay, we're going to be leaving Arizona pretty soon. I'm not sure. I'm not really interested in being a tourist precisely. If it's this year, then you're staying with me in my mom's basement. Well, like I said, I can stay in your mom's driveway or in your mom's basement. I don't care. I mean, I guess, yeah, if your mom says no, then that's a good enough reason. Sometimes I forget people still live with their parents. I can get you a bed if it's that serious. Come to Washington. Seriously, what's your DM? My Twitter handle is Jockle. That's JOKKULL, Jockle. You should mention me on Twitter. We'll DM and get on Telegram, and we'll see what's possible. I'm going to be in Northern California next week, and I'm going to leave Northern California at the latest on April 4th. So between April 2nd and April 4th, I was planning to go either to Utah or back down to Arizona. But if you're in Washington, we'll look at the distance. We'll look at what can happen. Yeah, Gibson, same to you, depending on how far you are from Chicago. I guess I'm trying to, aggressively reach out to people. I always feel like I'm not doing enough. I haven't gone on the couch surfing website. Are you going to visit Luke Ford? He has not contacted me. In the past, he asked me to come on his channel. I just didn't respond to him. He made fun of me. I don't know how serious he was, if he was making fun of me in a way that he legitimately thought I was a coward, or if he was just having fun with it. I know a lot of people who really don't like him, and I've already had problems on this trip. I'm not really going to go into what they are, but I've had problems where I'll meet with one person and that person doesn't like another person, and I'm like, well, I'm meeting both of you, and now it seems like one person doesn't want to talk to me anymore. I'm trying to be friends with as many people as possible. That's not always... I guess I would meet Luke Ford, maybe not as a friend, maybe as an adversary or something. He would just try to psychoanalyze me and get me to talk about my terrible childhood, my relationship with my parents, my sexuality, my fetishes, my problems and insecurities, because that's what he does to everybody, including himself. And it's problematic. I've talked about it before. I've talked about how that's basically a form of psychological pornography, because you're just putting everything out there in the same way that, in pornography, you just put everything out there. There's nothing hidden. It's just completely grotesque. As opposed to sexual intimacy. Sexual intimacy has trust. You're building a relationship. So that's, I guess, how I view Luke Ford, and he kind of knows what I think about him, and I don't think he wants to see me. I'm really only trying to talk to people that are interested in seeing me. I've already met people who I don't think were actually that interested in seeing me, which is disappointing. It's sad. but it's whatever. Like, you know, not every moment of this trip is going to be perfect. There are some moments that are going to be awesome, and I've already had some awesome moments, but there's going to be sour moments too, and that's fine. You know, so I guess I'm much more interested in meeting fans than meeting, like, internet e-celebs and personalities at this point. I still will meet more e-celebs and personalities. It's still in my plans to do so, and I don't think it's a terrible thing, but, you know, I'm more trying to focus on meeting people, because when I talk to people, they're like, wow, I watch your videos and I'm talking to you. And I think it's important to go through that process with people who are willing to have, like, I'm a normal guy. Well, I'm actually not. I'm kind of weird, but I'm not like I'm a person. Like, I'm a human being, and I'm not, I don't know, I'm not above you, I'm adjacent to you, you know, and I feel like that's an empowering process. They say, someone quoted something like, never meet your heroes, or something like that. One of the people, when I started this whole road trip thing, they're like, oh, never meet your heroes, so I don't want to meet you because I like your channel. It's like, that's BS, man. Like, I'm not a god, I'm not a cult leader, never have been, never will be. You know, obviously my channel's kind of a cult classic. You know, you could use that term, like it has a cult following or something like that. Like, it's a very niche thing. But, you know, I kind of want to break through the fourth wall and be like, yeah, I'm a real person, and you're a real person too. And I don't know, I feel like it just kind of opens people's horizons. So getting the Jockle parent shaming experience. No, it's not bad to live with your parents necessarily, especially if you have kids and you live with your parents. That's very different than just like you're living with your parents. You know, I'm not against intergenerational households, but it's just not something. Sometimes, like, I forget the fact that, like, there are a lot of overbearing parents in the world. I understand that, and if you say, like, hey, can my internet streaming friends stay over? They're probably going to say no. I actually would never, like, if I was doing this, I would never, like, approach my parents and say, this internet streaming guy's visiting. I would just say, a friend is visiting. Where did you meet him? Through another friend. Or if you have to say, we talked online, on the internet, whatever. You know, when you have to, I don't know, there's a certain generational gap that I feel like people, sometimes you just got to navigate that in a certain way, and I don't know, I hate to advocate lies and deception, but just throwing that out there, because people have already, like, yeah, so let me show you the Deep Left Jockle Experience YouTube channel, Mom. You can watch some videos. And it's like, I don't know if I would go about it in that way, but I guess some people are doing that, you know. Godspeed to you. I don't really mix. I think there's generational gaps and internet culture, and, you know, it's just like you're not, there's different levels to things. Like, I would never try to, I don't know. I would never try to talk to somebody's parents about, like, cultural issues or politics in any deep way. You know, if people bring it up, and they ask for my opinion, I'll try to give some kind of ambassadorial answer or conciliatory. What's that word? Not ambassadorial, but it's like, anyways, it's, you know, you get the picture. I gotta scroll up here. Gonna go brigade Luke Ford. Nah, we don't need to brigade him. We actually don't even need to give him oxygen or energy. I probably should have just skipped that comment, because he's a self-admitted narcissist, and as a narcissist myself, it's not good to, it's just like, you can't fix narcissism by, like, opposing. You can't be like, I hate you, you're not, like, attacking the guy is not going to make anything better. The best thing that can happen to a narcissist is usually that they like get the attention they desire, but usually that's short-lived. Like usually that's not sustainable to be a celebrity for that long. But that's the period where they shine the most. What do you think about Kentucky? Might fly out to meet an online buddy. Might be interested in if you came. Yeah. Gibson, why don't you slide into my DMs and we can sort it out? Diplomatic. Yeah, thank you, Gibson. Why do I do that? Ambassadorial. Hey, Mom, what do you think of Oswald Spangler? Yeah, there are some people out there who are legit like that. My mom keeps Fanged Nomina on her nightstand. Okay. Based, Mom? I haven't read Fanged Nomina. I don't even know who wrote it. I couldn't tell you if it was Deleuze, Guattari, Zizek, Heidegger. Like, I have no clue who wrote Fanged Nomina. Was it Nick Land? Did he write Fanged Nomina? I haven't read it. Whatever. Yeah, the chats are going to... I don't feel like I addressed everyone's chats, but... Yeah, Nick Land. Sorry for bringing him up. I first heard about you on his channel a couple years ago. Yeah, that's true. You know, so that was part of the history of the channel. And I don't know. It's just like when you... we just have to understand that the internet is a kind of a toxic place. And, you know, you're kind of wading through the toxic sewers and you have to vest up. You have to put on your biohazard suit, and you can't dwell in the sewage. Like, you have to be careful about what you're touching and, you know, where you're at. You have to be kind of like situationally aware and not get down in the gutter. It's very easy to get dragged down by people. I experienced that about this time last year, where I just allowed myself to get dragged down. It was also the fact that a lot of things were happening, like, in the world last March that also dragged me down. But in that context, I also allowed myself to get dragged down by, toxicity on the internet, and that you have to somehow have an answer to everything and everyone. And the truth is, you don't have to have, like, you can choose just to ignore, like, you don't have the capacity. You're not God. You can't address everything. Sometimes you just need to, like, say, I've done all I can. I'm going to move on. You know, the expenditure of agency and energy versus the reward is not worth it. And reward, it doesn't mean it in a selfish way necessarily, but even altruistically, like, there's a limit to how much you can help people and try to mediate things and get along with people and, you know, whatever. I don't know. Is this where you quote, putting on the armor of God from St. Paul? Yeah, I mean... Like I said, I don't know how much of the last stream got deleted because I didn't have internet, but I think there's a lot of concepts in Christianity that have parallels with what I'm saying. Putting on the armor of God, absolutely, you cannot be like pure air and pure water. You know, I say this as a mercurial person. You can't just you don't have the capacity to do that. And strong men have strong armor. Strong men have strong barriers. Strong men know how to say no. When somebody says, like, hey, you have to address me, you have to talk to me, you have to listen to me, you have to debate me, it's like, no, actually I don't. That's what strong men do. Weak men, have these thoughts in their head rent-free, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. This person was mean to me, and I don't know how to handle this. I'm saying that as a person who's had a problem controlling, I'm a very susceptible person. I'm very susceptible to what's going on around me, so it's something I have to be conscious of. Lost a lot of close friends during this period. Seems like everyone's more neurotic. Pretty sad. Yeah, I actually was thinking, but yeah. You find out in a crisis who has their head solidly attached. And I'll be the first one to admit that, I did not have my head solidly attached in March and April and maybe a little bit into May. But I was pretty, I was getting pretty ideological, I guess you could say, in that vein. Like, I was getting hysterical, and I had to be proven wrong, and I had to be set right. But I'm like, I don't know, for me, it's been a year. For people to still be in that mindset is just incredible to me. And it's, again, I'm in favor of authoritarian governments, like, forcing people to be healthy. I'm in favor of banning soda. I'm in favor of exercise camps that people are forced to go to. Like, I'm in favor of all of that. I'm in favor of the government, imprisoning people. Yeah, it's not...